I be feeling like I'm distant, but I'm really in my zone. Got some different shit I'm dealing with, I'm feeling so alone. Thinking about the way I'm living, got me switching on my tone. One more time, either you come with me or you don't. I be feeling like I'm distant, but I'm really in my zone. Got some different shit I'm dealing with, I'm feeling so alone. Thinking about the way I'm living, got me switching on my tone. I remember how she said she fucking with me, but she not attached. Telling me she miss me, I ain't calling back. Gave her all I had, she needed all of that. Girl, just be yourself, you need to drop the act. I'm peeping how you acting when you round your friends. Made me never want it.
Okay, so how
There's
long does it
filters.
take for you to do something like this?
Depending on the piece, it can take me anywhere from 5 to 7 days.
5 to man. Yeah, I like the way it's because like during the summertime, I guess because it's summertime, I would it's hot, so I think this would be like a good breeze. This is good for like air like the air circulating through the fabric.
Okay. Colors, hoodie with African colors had did earlier for Black History. I always little for everybody. To make my pan hats because the weather start changing up. A lot of people they because of the colors, the simple design, they pull it all the way down and fold the ends up, and I try to have my pieces an affordable and reasonable price because a lot of the areas that I do my pop, it's in urban areas. And I want to try to make sure that the people in those urban areas can afford my pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So my beanie hats, it only takes me about an hour to make them. So I charge $10 for them. And a lot of people like them because it's couple for this and that person they can do and not feel like they're breaking their pockets. I had met a lady a few years ago. She was making the same beanie hat styles as me, and she was making a solid black beanie hat, and she told me she charges $35 for hers. And I'm just looking at her like, I know it's handmade, but you're just doing a simple beanie hat and you're charging $35. I could see if she had like all these different colors and different stitches and it was jazzed up. I'm just like, yeah, I don't think you selling too many of them hats.
Yeah, these I mean they look kind of cool. I can see it happening right here. You said that this is probably the quickest, fastest thing that you can make right here, huh? Can you also do lettering
Yep.
in here? Like you can put like how this is, you can make that a name.
No, not even something I'm going to attempt. I know my limits, and that is not something I'm going to attempt. No, no,
I mean,
no.
this an intricate like little pattern to do that though. I mean, just to like go, simple letters, not too fancy, just like what I mean, like United Minority Business Ventures right across the top or something. That'll be like an original.
See,
Nobody's gonna have there. So,
the one thing with the lettering, I've seen a couple of videos in the past. You have to really be precise and accurate when you're switching the yarn in order to
mhm.
get the letters. And that for me would be a lot of concentration that would definitely make me raise my prices because I'm spending all this time and extra concentration making this piece. I want
Mhm.
my money's worth. So at the end of the day, my time is valuable. I'm trying to pump out as many pieces as I can because almost every weekend I have one or two events. So I'm constantly trying to make my pieces. I'm not trying to spend too much time on something. I want to
Mhm.
have my pieces for me as simple and easy as possible because if I start stressing over something that's supposed to be fun and relaxing for me, there's a problem. So if
Yeah.
I got to do all this extra stuff, I don't want to be bothered because then it's not fun and relaxing. I'm over here stressing now.
Well, this one's. I'm looking at some of the because you got the prices on some of these things too. So what a custom hat. Mm. Yeah, because I was thinking about that when I seen that these little beanie things right here.
Those are the crossbody fanny packs. I was on YouTube last year because I started making them last year. I actually had went to Riverside in March, San Diego. There was an event that I had went to, and but a few days before the event, and I kept seeing the videos for the crossbody fanny packs. And I watched a couple of them and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. And that orange and white one was the first one that I made. And the second one was a yellow and blue. And I was able to just make the 4 squares because it's 4 squares that you make and you put them together. And the two at the end, you got to fold them kind of like halfway, like you would do a taco and sew them together. And I was
Hmm.
able to get those two completed while I was in San Diego. So then by the time I went back home to Oakland, I just had to do zipper. And I felt like, wow, that was really, really simple to make.
Hmm.
I've made a backpack took like 14 or 15 granny squares to make. And then I
Hmm.
had to make a long strap, for the back. And it that took me a couple of days to make, but the fanny packs, I just kept seeing the videos on YouTube and I said, you know what? I don't really see too many other people making them. Let me go ahead and test my skill set and see what I can do. And now when I make them, I know I definitely make them better than when I first started. And I try
Hmm.
to make them to where the zipper is at least 18 or 20 inches long so that people will have enough room and space. It's big enough for them to put their stuff in. And a lot of people, they like them, especially because of the lining. Um, I have the ones that I've made recently. I've had the Jetsons, um,
Hmm.
one with the flames for the fire, a pink and white
The
one for
deer
breast
head.
cancer awareness. Yeah, I like to go to Joann's and find the fabric because I want to make sure that in some way it matches the fanny pack, but also they kind of bring a person back to that happy place, like back to their childhood, or they open it up and they're like, oh, look at this. I even had one a lot of people like that had the marijuana leaves. A lot of
Yeah, I
people
seen
got a
that one
kick out of
too. Hmm.
they got a kick out of that one, but I s- I still have some fabric that I've used for my tote bags that I'll
Where'd it go?
use the remaining for the fanny packs.
Oh, I heard that. There it is. Okay.
So this cardigan, a lot of customers, they really like that cardigan. That is a piece that a lot of people have been looking for and have not been able to find. And I am going to start making them again because, like I said, a lot of people have not been able to find them. The only thing is, I think for the new ones that I'm going to make, I'm not going to put the fringe at the bottom unless it's a custom order for a customer. Um, the reason why I'm not going to do the fringe is because my experience in the past, depending on the height of the customer, that can be a challenge. Some people might be a little shorter than others. And I had one experience where a customer, she wanted me to cut the fringe for her after I told her I'm selling this as is, and you will have to cut the fringe to your height. But she insisted that I do it for her. But at the time, we were at an event and I couldn't do it properly because she had to get back to her booth. And I'm like, but in order for me to do this right, you got to be wearing it while I'm cutting it. So I'm not doing the fringe unless it's a custom order, but this is something that I'm looking forward to making because a lot of customers, they really, really like these jackets. So I'm looking forward to making them. Probably start making those next month.
Is this same kind of style of making it, just a different kind? Like
That
this is a cardigan too?
Yeah, that is actually the very first one that I made. Whenever I am making a piece for the first time, I always call it my experiment. And my son, he expressed to me that he felt it was an ugly combination of colors. But the lady that bought it, she was like, yeah, this is mine. Here's my money. So, like I said, there's always somebody somewhere who will like what you have. She apparently enjoyed seeing that color combination.
Yeah, it's not it's not bad. Yeah, I can see. I'm looking at something else when I'm looking at this. Like, like I'm still on a letter thing. And I'm thinking because you saying you do custom ones, maybe I could be the first person you do a custom little letters in the way that these squares are. Say if they were squared, letters like they were just like a little indent right here for an N, a little indent right there, but leave the rest and still in a square type thing,
Maybe
Uh-huh.
to make some letters across
maybe
there.
iron on letters was off, like iron on letters, something that would just be cutouts.
Um,
Nah,
I would
well,
I would not suggest ironing the letters
mhm.
because depending on what temperature of heat the iron has to be to iron it on, you're taking a chance at burning the yarn. So, if anything, I would suggest buying the letters and sewing them on just to play it safe with the yarn.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And how long? Okay, now this is what I keep asking on every single one is how long does it take to make something like this?
Okay, so these cardigans, I have to buy the individual colors. And there's a thing called self-changing yarn. Like with the camo that I showed earlier, those
Mhm.
colors change on their own. I have to buy each individual color and manually change each color. So The that cardigan, I think I have to make like 20 something of those little squares.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to stitch them all together. So
Yeah.
this piece takes a solid week because I have to make all these squares. And when I say change the colors, after I finish one row, I have to bring the next color, attach that, snip the old color, make some knots to secure the new color being added so it doesn't unravel. Like that leaves tails in some case. I don't really worry about the tails hanging out because I have a trick that I deal with that. But just the process of having to manually change the colors, that takes time. And then making all the individual squares and then sewing them together, that takes time. And then you got to have the space for it. Like it's fun to do, but it takes time. So something like that will take like a solid week to do because you got to make sure you're doing it right. And then you don't want to sew the squares together too tight to where it bunches up and it won't fall right. But you got to
Right.
do it securely so that as it's being pulled on from the tension of, wearing and washing, it doesn't get too loose. So it's almost like a fine science of sewing them together. And when I say sewing, I'm not talking about with the sewing machine. I'm talking about, I put it up. I have a metal yarn needle that's like a sewing needle, but it's thicker. I have
Mm-hmm.
to put the yarn through that needle and by hand sew the pieces together. So,
So you talking about this in the back right here? You sewed each one of these together?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but not with a sewing machine.
You got to bring in each one of the yarns when she goes through the black. She's got to bring in the gray, and then wherever that
And
is.
put that little thing in there.
Because
Put that in
I want three of them right now. I want the two of the African one and one in all purple. Just to let you know.
I got you. I got you.
there.
I want
Yeah,
two of
because
those,
that
but
looks like a
two of
lot
those
of
for my mom and my sisters, and one off my purple. My sister loves purple like you do, and everything's got to be in purple. I don't care; it's got to be purple. Even the forks and
Hey,
even the
I
forks and
like her already.
well, what's this? That's turquoise color, right?
Yeah, that is a mixture with the turquoise, gray, the pink, the white, and the black. Oh, and a gray also. I wanted to sometimes I experiment with color combinations, and I actually liked that color combination because you have a mixture of the darks and the lights, and you not the what I'm going to call the common colors like the reds, the bright reds and the blues and the orange and the yellow. I wanted to stay away from that and put some colors together that you might not necessarily like, but after
Hmm.
seeing it for a while, you're like, okay, I get it.
No, well, that it makes a lot of people. I don't really know what they're thinking, but I mean, it's an original piece. This is something not everybody's gonna be wearing. I don't think some people look at it like that. This is a one of a kind type of thing. I can't assume that you would be able to make this again exactly the way you made this one. Like some other brands might make 100,000 of exact same print. But these are more genuine and unique because you're not making it the same way each time.
No, and especially since this one was the very first, I know now that a lot of my customers, when it comes to jackets, they like them to be baggy. So when I made those, I used the 5 millimeter hook. When I start making the new ones, I'm going to be using a 6 millimeter hook just so
Hmm.
that the squares, they're bigger. And then when I sew them together, the actual cardigan will be bigger and baggier. So that is the one thing that I have already noted is to use a larger hook to make it bigger and baggier because the ones who wanted bigger and baggier, I got you, boo. I got you, boo.
This
I
is you, right?
already noted. Yeah.
'Cause I was just looking at the rings and then the nails right here.
Yeah, I
Okay.
had to take those pictures to put in the POS because that was actually the my first time doing the Benicia Peddlers Fair, and
Hmm.
I sold it that same day. So I had to take the pictures to put it in the system.
Oh, okay. So you got on here a snake? What is that?
I love snakes, so I have a couple of snake tattoos. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to make one that was long because the other ones that I have made, they have been square. Um, kind of like that, but wider so that it would fit up to a larger size. This one I wanted to, yeah, like that one. But I wanted to make one that was a little slimmer, if that makes sense, not as wide, so that someone could wear it not only just for a swimsuit cover up, they could wear it as an outfit. So I wanted to give them that option for either swimsuit or grandma's picnic.
Do you have you said sometimes you make men's clothing or you have some have made some in the past. Could this be a tank top? Could you like re
I would have to make it shorter.
redesign that kind of?
Well, if I was to redesign this, I would have to take it apart, but I would not suggest that because I made it from the bottom up. So
Mm,
if I'd have to take it apart, I would not be able to successfully and easily do that from the bottom because I
okay.
started from the bottom. So pulling it apart would have to come from the top.
Okay, now what I'm thinking of is when I have first seen this originally is when you do the measurements or can somebody well me if I send you like some measurements you can make it per those measurements as far as like the width and I'm assuming that this the yarn also stretches, it expands a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When so this piece right here is cotton, specifically KC Essential Cotton. And I love that brand of cotton yarn for the clothes because of how soft against the skin it is. And the cotton, it does stretch. Um,
Mhm.
Especially how this stitch that I used so there's the slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and then treble crochet. Treble crochet is a long stitch, if that makes sense. It's a
Mhm.
long stitch. So that makes it even stretchier because also the size hook that I used was a 6. So the fine science of crocheting, A lot of the yarn wrappers will tell you the size of the yarn and will give a suggested hook size based on that yarn size. So if you use a larger yarn size, a larger hook size for that yarn, you will actually make the stitch looser, which
Hmm.
means it will actually stretch more. So that's why sometimes if my intention, like when I'm doing the straps for my market bags, no, the crossbody bags,
Hmm.
I will use a smaller hook when I'm using a tighter stitch so that that strap will not stretch as much because a girl had bought one of my market bags a few years back. And when I say she puts everything in that market bag, I mean, I have seen pictures of her with a jacket, a water bottle, fruit, um, everything she can fit in there, she puts in there, especially when she's traveling, going through the airport and stuff. And when she bought it originally, the strap just, you just put the strap on your shoulder. Now, because she's put so much in there, she can literally put the strap over over her body so it crosses. It's like a messenger bag type strap
Hmm.
now. And I'm looking like, my God, she has stretched out. She stretched out that strap, but she still looked happy with it.
Still
So
looking at.
sometimes I anticipate stretching and I'll change my hook size to kind of minimize the stretching. But depending on what's being put inside or how it's being worn, it's going to stretch.
Let me maybe the audience may be thinking the same thing is what is the longevity of this? I mean, as far as washing and drying it, does it frizz? Does it, you know what I mean? Does it shrink?
So it depends on how the person cares for it. I tell them, as well as the care being written on the back of the price tag, how to care for it. Majority of the times with acrylic yarn, it has to be washed in warm water. Now, they can hand wash it if they like, or they can put it in the washing machine. And I always tell them you can air dry it, or if you put it in the dryer, low heat for 15 to 20 minutes. And don't, it's not supposed to be bone dry because you don't want to take a chance of burning the yarn. Even when I wash my pieces, sometimes I'll air dry it, or if I do put in the dryer, low heat 15, 20 minutes, it's still damp, and I'll just let it air dry because I don't want to take a chance of burning the yarn or over drying it and then it shrink. Now, some pieces, yeah, they will develop the little lint balls on it, but again, it goes with the care of the person.
Hmm.
Everyone cares for their things differently. They wear their things differently. In some cases, I will explain to customers there's a type of yarn. It's called anti-pilling, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Anti-pilling, Pilling. And on the wrapper, it said that the anti-pilling yarn is special in how it won't clump up. It won't have the lint balls on it.
Hmm.
Now, I myself do not have any pieces with anti-pilling yarn. I'm only reporting what the wrapper says. But I have made pieces in the past, specifically baby blankets with anti-pilling yarn because as some of us knows, baby blankets get washed pretty often. And
Mhm.
when I start making my baby blankets um, for the upcoming winter, I will be purchasing the anti-pilling yarn so that those blankets can comfortably be washed as many times as needed or wanted. Um, I don't make too many other pieces with the anti-pilling yarn because that yarn only comes from what I have seen in the little schemes. So I would have to buy a ton of them for large projects. And some of those brands, they're like $6 a pop. So I'm very careful about buying the anti-pilling because it can get costly. But like I said, I will be buying it for the baby blankets. But as far as larger pieces, yeah, I'm gonna need a deposit on that. I'm gonna need a deposit so I can buy the yarn with your money up front.
Okay, okay, Pamela. Thank you for that. I'm like how you can articulate exactly what you're using and the gauges of the yarn and the tools it takes it requires for to get the job done. You know, that's very detailed in knowing your profession right there. Definitely says that you know exactly what you're doing when you're making these items here. There's right here. Yeah, I like the colors you're using, the way you're blending these colors too. Um,
Okay, no, 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 no.
what?
That is a perfect example of the self-changing yarn that I was talking about. That's not me changing the colors. That's how they made the yarn.
Oh, okay.
So that's a perfect example of the self-changing yarn. I think it's also referred to as uh, vintegrated. Vintegrated. I know I'm probably saying the word wrong, but I call it self-changing because it changes, the color changes on their own. I don't have to manually change that. That that brand.
It was the colors were already dyed in the yarn like this.
I know
Okay,
that color is tortoise. I think
tortoise.
that brand is Karen, Caron. Some pronounce it Karon, but I mean, why not call it Karen? But I actually like that earth tone color. And the
Hmm.
lady who bought it, she just about ripped it off the hanger. And I'm like, oh my God, are you stealing from me? But I'm gonna have to try to find that yarn. I got that from Michael's. I do remember that. So I'll have to go back to Michael's because I know sometimes they have some colors that are available for certain seasons because they have a few brands of yarn they discontinued. So that's why it's important sometimes to snatch up yarn when you see it
When you see it.
be-
Hmm.
because sometimes it's being discontinued and you have no idea. And then you can't go online and find it. And if you do, somebody on eBay is selling it for 20 bucks.
Man, what are these? They're called
Mobius
Mobius
wraps.
Mobius wraps.
And they're
Okay, so
also known as infinity scarves.
infinity scarves. There go
Hmm.
that purple.
Yes, and I sold that piece this Sunday. But
Oh, just wraps the shoulders. Okay.
a lot of
So this isn't a
people,
wrap. It's actually like a shirt. This doesn't just.
you can call it, it's at the tip of
It's
my
called a wrap,
tongue.
but it's kind of like a pullover though, right?
I'm trying to think of the other name. A
Shoulder scarf,
shawl,
shoulder,
almost like a shawl, kinda.
a shoulder shawl.
Yeah, but
So
a lot of women, they like it because how it just sits on your shoulder.
right.
And I show them that some women, they like to put it over their head like a hood, or they like to have one shoulder hanging off, or depending on how it fits on them, like if it fits kind of big, they like to have it just down so their shoulders show and it's hanging, I guess I'll say hanging on their elbows or sitting on their elbows, you know, that the little bendy part in your arm. It's sitting down there, you know, and the
Is that
shoulders
the bendy
is
part?
exposed. So it's, yeah, you know, it's a lot of different ways it can be worn. And I always tell people because they ask me, how do you wear it? And I say, how can you wear it? You can wear it
Mhm.
however you want. So I'm going to show
However you
you
want it.
how some women
Mhm.
wear it and you pick. You know, you're the one that's going to be wearing it, so you know, you better become a fashionista and wear that thing.
Man, I heard that. Yeah, you got lot of interesting stuff here. What's the story behind this flag right here? Why is this black and
So that is the
blue white?
Blue Lives Matter, and that is for the police. And when
Hmm.
I made that, that was back when they was having all the riots and everything and was attacking the police. And I saw that and I saw the stars and I was like, "Oh, you can crochet stars?" So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can do this. And the stars are there, they were fairly easy to make. The challenge is putting them on there straight. But you know, the
Mhm.
yarn just kind of does its own thing. But I also made it because I am someone, I've had to call the police in the past a few times. So I've depended on the police. And I need the police. Okay. Even in the future, I know I'm going to need the police. I hope I don't, but I know I do. And being in Oakland, it's really bad right now because we really don't have a police presence. And so much is happening. Last year, someone or people tried to steal my car twice. Um, it's ridiculous what happens when there's no police around. And I I just feel like I can't um you know throw the whole batch away. There's a few bad apples, punish them, but I need police in my life, especially with what I've been through. I used to be in a relationship where there was domestic violence. So I support the police. You know, I'm not ashamed or
Okay.
afraid to say that I've had personal experiences where I had to call the police.
Hmm.
So I made that because I wanted to replicate what I saw. I saw stars. I That was my experiment with stars. And I support the police. And I wanted to have at least one item like that, you know. So um that's the story for that. That was an experiment with stars. I've done a few other pieces with stars. I've done a blanket. She loves Wonder Woman. So because I had done stars, I was able to do hers. I did her some stars on the bottom of the blanket.
Man, now when I see something like this,
Oh God.
Now, is this? Did it come like this? I mean, how did you do this right here?
Okay, okay. So this peppermint throw, this kicked my butt. It kicked my butt because I so those are called motifs. Each circle is called a motif. Um, I it took me a few weeks to complete that because for one, I have found a video on how to make it, but some crocheters on YouTube, they will tell you, thankfully, that they altered the pattern. So that means they put their twist on the pattern. So
Mm,
here I am following her janky pattern and
mm,
they wasn't coming out right. And I'm sitting there like
yeah.
I was mad. So it took me a while to find another video because there's not too many videos showing how to make that. So I found a video and I spent time watching it through until I felt like okay, this is one that I can follow through with. And it took me a minute to get the pattern down because it was my first time doing something like that and then having to switch the yarn.
Hmm.
And then I had to make sure I had enough yarn because making it, I didn't even make it the actual size that it was in the video. It was supposed to be bigger, but I was like, no, because I'm about to kill my first human person in a second. This is getting to me. So we gonna do this my size. So
Man.
it was a
So,
challenge getting the pattern together and
how
then
big is
making
this?
the smaller ones. I made it big enough just to cover one person. You know,
So, this is like you can
it's
actually like wrap up in this.
it's really a decorative throw, to
Mm,
like hang over the back of your couch, put on the chair, but like if you're sitting down, you can, put it on you. Or if you're laying down, you might have to get in the fetal position or just tuck your feet in a little, but um I swear I almost set it on fire. That's how much of a challenge it was and how much it was stressing me. And last year I did an event in Brentwood and the lady liked it and I told myself, you know what, Pam, you know what to do. And I told her, look, ma'am, I'm tired of seeing this thing. Every time I look at it, I get mad at it and I want to punch it. How much do you want to give me for this? Because I honestly had it priced at $200.
hmm.
But like I said, I hated it. I was tired of seeing it and I really wanted her to take it. So she called out a price and I said, let me bag it for you." And she looked at
Man.
me. I said, "Ma'am, I'm tired. I was tired of seeing this thing. It upsets me every time I got to put it on this table. You taking it. Give me your money. Where your money? Give me your money and take this bag."
Man.
Now, I have thought about doing another one, but in black and orange. But you know what? I would probably have to have a couple bottles of wine next to me because
Mhm.
every time I think about the process, I'm like, nope, I'm cool.
Man.
Mm-mm.
I think we didn't answer you. Well, we didn't ask you. I know we didn't ask you, but when you're doing these things, is there some kind of television show that you have on? Is there a movie on? Is there music and what's going on in the the process of doing this? Because I know it takes you putting in a couple of hours. What is the I guess the theme music, or what is the theme when you need to get into the mood to knock down one of these?
So when I am working on a piece, I have my tablet first and foremost because my tablet has my streaming services. So it's either Stars, HBO Max, or Shutter. Shutter is a streaming app that shows horror movies, and I love horror movies. When I said earlier I love all things horror, I wasn't lying. I had Netflix, but I forgot something happened and I just wasn't tripping all one of my credit cards it expired and I had got the new one, but I was just so into it was some TV show I was watching on HBO Max that I didn't even trip off of the Netflix. So it's like I've just been watching all the other shows and then like I got the Shutter app, so it's like I've just been neglecting Netflix, but I'm on one of the streaming apps and I am sometimes I will watch a movie that is not in English, but I don't do that too often because when I'm crocheting, I want to hear. I don't want to have to watch because I feel like it'll take me longer if I got to look up to read the captions. But sometimes I do. Um, if it looks like there's going to be a real good scary one, I'll just have to go ahead and just look up every now and then, but I have to listen. I have to not watch the movie, listen to the movie. And then sometimes I'll have my phone because I'll go to the Facebook app and the forensic files page, and then I can listen to the stories because I have a thing about people getting killed. So I like to listen to the stories and try to figure out who did it and man, he really just cut her body up like that. Like that kind of stuff fascinates me. So I can listen to the stories while I'm crocheting, but I don't listen to the music. I like to listen to something that's, going to keep my interest. If I start listening to the music, I don't know how that would go. So I gotta listen to something that's gonna have my imagination like, oh, okay. So, he froze the body and then put it in the wood chipper and that kind of stuff.
Man, you sound like the perfect movie buddy right now.
I be feeling like I'm distant, but I'm really in my zone. Got some different shit I'm dealing with, I'm feeling so alone. Thinking about the way I'm living, got me switching on my tone. One more time, I'm saying, either you come with me or you don't. I be feeling like I'm distant, but I'm really in my zone. Got some different shit I'm dealing with, I'm feeling so alone. Thinking about the way I'm living, got me switching on my tone. I remember how she said she fucking with me, but she not attached. Telling me she miss me, I ain't calling back. Gave her all I had, she needed all of that. Girl, just be yourself, you need to drop the act. I'm peeping how you acting when you round your friends. Made me never wanna take you out again. I gave you my word and you still doubted it. And now my brother's only ones that I'm surrounded with. Had my head down, but things are looking up. Always made me feel I'm never good enough. Guess I'm just somebody that you couldn't love. I tried to push you to do better, but you wouldn't budge. Ain't no point in talking about the things you would've done. If I decided I'ma chase you, then you shouldn't run. Cause to be real, I should replace you like this shit ain't enough. You been looking at me different, I can see it in your face. And no, I'm not just anybody, it ain't me you can replace. See you posting all them pictures, I won't feed into your bait. You took my kindness for some weakness, cause it's easy to mistake. But me, I always got to real, it ain't no reason to be faking. Now I met somebody else, it got me thinking that it's fake. Got me packing up my bags and now I'm leaving, I can't stay. Now I'm letting you go free and I ain't even in your way. Tell me what you really trying to do. If it ain't me, it must be you. feeling like I'm distant, but I'm really in my zone. Got some different shit I'm dealing with, I'm feeling so alone. Thinking about the way I'm living, got me switching on my tone. One more time, I'm saying, either you come with me or you don't. Might be feeling like I'm